Are you an all-star?
Ooh,
It's the motherfucking player
player
haters ball. Ooh, yeah.
player haters.
Woo. What's up, player haters out there? Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. I figured, you know what? I think I always try to do an all-star break podcast, and if not, guess what? No time like the present, and starting to do one now. Are you an all-star? I want to highlight a few of the members in our beautiful league, if you will, and say what they may be a all-star about. So some of the things I've written down, I may or may not touch on it. Um, Others I might just come across as we're diving into this. So, again, hope everybody's having a good, relaxing mental break. I gotta say, it's always so funny, like how we put such an emphasis on the start of each week in a matchup. And then when we get to that Saturday, Sunday, boy, I tell you what, our brains are firing, make the right moves. We're so close here. We already know we lost this category here. And then Monday rolls around and it's a whole nother stressful time because we've got a new matchup. Regardless of what the previous week was, we got a new matchup. Got to set our lineup again. Got to look ahead. Got to start figuring up how many pitchers do they got. And with a limit on moves, now those of us that have already reached the 50 plus marker, me, of course, leading the way. Now I'm just like, uh, you know, Chris is right behind me with 55. Tied our bench warmers and Brian with 52. Um, but yeah, leading the way and holding on to the most is Ray and Nick, 28 and 22, respectfully. Actually, Sean also has 22. So, yeah. So there you go. So let's look at it right now. The wife Sunday night before we went off to sleep in the dreamland, she extends her right hand to me across the pillow and proceeds to ask me to shake her hand. And I was like, "Why am I shaking your hand?" She's like, "Good game." And I was like, "Yeah, was a good game. You weren't paying attention to the fact that this week is actually an all-star matchup and you still got 3 more days of my ass to beat." So, yeah. So she was unawares that we are actually in that extended week. And again, this one's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. It's not how we do things. Okay? You actually start the week of a matchup this week. This is the week you start a new matchup. Last week, I should have shaken her hand and she would have won 7-5. So, having said that, had or have or if, I always have a hard time. There we go, stat tracker. If matchups were to end today, we'd pretty much be looking at Trippin' Billies and Ray for Peaches 1 and 2, Mikasa Sukasa's third. Jason would be jumping back into contention in fourth. And fifth would be Rally Monkeys. Sixth would be Josh. Myself, I would be seventh. Brian 8, Troubleshooters 9. Basically, at the bottom, it'd still be the same. There's just a fluctuation of other players at the top. So, again, somewhat thankful that the week is not over. However, does not look good in terms of coming back. So, we definitely will see for that. So, looking at it right now, there's a tie going on between Jason and Brian, 5-5. Eric is beating Rally Monkeys 7-5. Mandalorians is getting ass handed to him by Jesus 10-1. Jesus, what was your score last week? 7-3. So he's definitely got a team that is just going stupid. I think Shane pointed out the other day that he's got like 17 home runs. Shane does not really have the right to call out anybody for however many home runs they do have because of who his team is. And we'll get into Shane just a little bit here. Mikasa Sukasa is beating Bench Warmers. That's Nick over Josh, 6-3. And Shane is holding a 2-point lead over Bro Hitman, 6-4. Let's look at the scores here a minute. We'll get into who I think all-stars are. This one's close, Shane. Uh-oh. Close in the regards of home runs and RBIs. Not in stolen bases or runs at all. Sean is just struggling mightily to put together a complete offense. But he's getting some stats from Simeon, Tovar, and this Abreu of Boston. Pitching-wise, again, another high ERA week for Shane, but he's at least getting the other stats, quality starts and wins. They're tied in saves plus holds, but again, where he's lacking is where his brother is actually taking every single one of his points, and that's in pitching. 57 strikeouts to 17, 4.50 ERA, and a 1.17 whip, and 5 quality starts. So very close in some of those categories, and they're tied in both wins and saves plus holds. So this could be a tie. And if Hitman starts to sway home runs and RBIs in his direction, I don't see him getting average or OBP in 3 days. Shane would have to fall very mightily, if you will, in those categories. So Shane's trying to hold on to this 6-4 lead because he sees the matchup that Ray is actually pulling away from, and that is the matchup with me. I have no quality starts. I do not understand why that is, but I have none. And I will not be catching her in that category at all because we only have 3 days left, and I don't even think I will have 4 pitchers in this coming up weekend. So it's one of the downfalls, if you will, when you're holding on to pitchers that are on the IL or went day to day, both Suarez and Zach Wheeler. So I doubt that they'll be even pitching them this weekend coming back from the All-Star break. But she had a little bit of a hiccup from Seth Lugo and Cal Quantrill. But other than that, her pitchers have done pretty much everything that she expects them to do. She has had an offensive surge, if you will, back again. Marcelo Zuna and Josh Smith, who I just acquired. She was looking at her team in terms of lacking stolen bases. And I was like, well, my team now has 2 players that are on the same team that both potentially could be my shortstop. I now have no Luis Rengifo right now and just traded away Anthony Volpe back to Eric. So I was shortstop deficient on days where they're not playing. So we came to an agreement. So I imagine that Bryce Terrain will have an explosion of stolen bases for her now on her roster. But Shane is definitely probably looking at this matchup, if I can't hold her off on the OBP and the runs, which I'm only one over her, then we're going to have a big 9-3, if not more, win from her, which is not good for me because the weeks to try to get into the playoff spot are dwindling for sure. So Nick and Josh are in a very good battle, if you will. Benchwarmers has the strikeouts, and that's about it. Josh is really in a fight or flight situation, if you will. He is very close in home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, average. This really could be anybody's matchup, really. And if anything, if I'm Josh, he's been talking about his team declining over the last couple of weeks. Well, this should actually be a positive for him because his team is actually competing with one of, if not the best teams in our league right now in Nick. And he's really doing well with keeping pace with Nick's pitchers as well. So, though Josh is going to be a little concerned, I think he's really holding out hope that this weekend coming up, he can gather the right stats to take over the batting categories that are very, very razor thin. 3 runs, 1 home run. They're tied in RBIs, 1 stolen base, and .004 in the average. So, and even in the pitching categories, very close. Josh is probably going to walk away with the strikeouts, but very close indeed. Mandalorians and Troubleshooters, these are two teams that, quite honestly, Jesus is going to need to really win and win big for the next few weeks to get into playoff consideration. And he might actually do it because his team is just really forming right before our eyes. He's getting a lot of stats from Doyle, from Schwarber, from Steer, and then he's getting Luis Roberts Jr. And at any moment, we could see a trade for Luis to go to a contender. And if he gets on a roster that's going to have better potential for him to have runs and RBIs, he's really going to be a troublemaker for sure. So, and he being Jesus does not have a bad pitching roster. He's got Hunter Green, Kevin Gosman is, whatever, and Carlos Rodon, these guys are proven veterans on his roster. And he's showcasing that, look, I'm going to roll these teams if my bats do what they're doing. Now, what's crazy is that he's tied for runs with Mandalorians, and yet he has double the runs that home runs, if you rather, that Mandalorians has. So he's got the power, but he's not getting necessarily the people that are, in the position to get brought in. But no matter, where you lack in one area, you exceed or excel in another. And he definitely is in this respect. So, and of course, without Luis Robert, he would not be winning the category of stolen bases by 5 because Luis Robert has literally 5 stolen bases. So, Jesus is not out just yet, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. Jason is looking for a bounce back win, and this one is going to come down to Sunday for sure. These two guys are definitely, Brian, kudos, man. You're like I have said it, your team is turning a corner and you are looking to try to take that 6th spot, and it's showcasing, man. We're all seeing it, dude. When you see this like Tetris style in the matchup, and then you look at the numbers as a whole, you can tell that your team is just as, if not equal to the teams that are above you in the playoffs and that are holding a seat. And I think where your downfall may be is those wins, or excuse me, rather those losses earlier in the season where you lose by the big margins, even if they were razor thin in the categories, if you will. But now you've turned your team around. You've made some trades. I'm not exactly sure that trading away Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was the right move, but you do have some players that are going to be coming back from injury, even Miranda, who was helped carrying your team. But in Mike Trout and Real Muto, and you've also got a healthy Colton, or is it Connor Wong? Connor? Yeah, Connor Wong, who's doing good things for in Boston. Again, you've got pitching and the ability to really make the teams that you're facing that are in the playoffs uncomfortable. And if not for Alec Burleson being dropped by this dumbass and being picked up by Jason, I'm not sure Jason would really be in contention right now with you. 6, 4, and 11, batting 357. Man, you want to talk about a great addition to Jason's team as Mookie Betts makes his way back. There you go. And last but not least, we'll look at swinging and missing. Eric doing his best. I think Eric has kind of said, I'm going to be an interrupter of those 6 top teams. And he's definitely proven that that's what he wants to do. He's made a push. He's making trades. He just acquired Vladimir, like we said, and he picked up off of waivers. Brent Rooker dropped by this dumbass. Man, if I'd have kept Alec Burleson and Brent Rooker, oh my goodness. There wouldn't even be a question right now of trying to make up offensive ground. Man, the moves that I've made this season, trades and otherwise. But Walker over here, again, players that despite the fact that I don't like them, they just always show up and show out. And then he picked up a rookie outfielder. I tell you what, Walker just seems to know. Don't know what it is. He just seems to know. Because I don't know. Because I picked up James Wood, and that kid just has flapped around, and now he's back on waivers. So you guys should go and pick him up as soon as possible, because apparently my waiver drops do great things on other teams. But Eric, he just got rid of Burns, but he acquired Max Fried. He got Chris Sale for me. He now has 3. I question my own braveism now. I don't even have a Brave on my roster. I do not have a Brave player on my roster. Chris Sale was no, I do. Schwellenbeck. My bad. Take that back. Can't question me. Ha ha ha. I'm loyal. But yeah, Eric made some trades this week. Getting rid of some players and trying. He's trying. I mean, it would take, again, just like with Jesus, big margins of victory to get there. It's possible, but a lot of things have to shape up. So without further ado, I have a few all-stars that I wanted to talk about, and I may have mentioned them, if you will, already in some respects. But let's give it up for our all-star trader of the season right now. I got to give it up to Shane. Shane, how you pulled this off, sir? You are an all-star, my friend. You have acquired somehow. You got Bryce Harper, Shohei Ohtani, Corey Seager, and who else did you get through trades? I believe you got Aaron Judge. Did you? No, you drafted Aaron Judge. So you got Bryce Harper, Shohei Ohtani, and Corey Seager in trades. Respectfully, that is the number 2 baseball player, the number 73 ranked baseball player, the number 11 baseball player, and meanwhile, you drafted Aaron Judge, who's the number one. You have the number one and number two ranked baseball players on your roster. Hats off to you, sir. Hats off to you. You have just dominated, in my opinion, the better trades for your team. And as far as I know, you're not done. By the way, for whoever watches this, when is our trade deadline? Let's see. Let's see if we can pull this up. Settings. Trade deadline. Okay, trade in date is August 8th. That's right around the corner, people. August 8th is on a Thursday. For whatever reason, we chose it to be on a Thursday. But come this Thursday, it's literally 1, 2, 3 weeks away. So if you are one of those teams that are down at the bottom, might want to mark that date in your calendar and make sure that you start making moves and making them real quick. So, Shane, congratulations. You're the trade master. Ray, let's give it up for Ray, okay? Ray is number 2 right now in our league. And some of y'all have said that she has made poor decisions with her roster in trading people away. Right now, Jurickson Profar is ranked 19th in our league. Could be the all-star with a 305 batting average, 52 runs, 14 home runs, 59 RBIs, only 5 stolen bases. Over somebody, she's playing the guy that's 18th. So this was a fairly equal trade, if you will. But Jordan was not ranked 18th a couple of weeks ago. Okay? He was ranked like 35th. So she has made some good pickups along the way. She grabbed up O'Neal when O'Neal was hot at the time. She's maintained Bobby Witt Jr., who has carried her roster. She has a very good first baseman. She's not struggling in that area. She's got one of the best catchers in Will Smith. She's got a contending team because she's also got some good pitchers. Max Scherzer is healthy now. Cutter Crawford. She's got good relief pitchers in Kirby Yates, Jax, this other Walker kid from San Francisco. She got Flaherty from me, Reese Olson. She's got the ability to really be a contender this year. So let's give it up for Ray. Ray, here you are. That's right. There we are. She's in the background. Brian, I got to give us a shout out. We're an all-star, okay? We have not given up. That's right. You cannot give up. And we see the potential, Brian and I do, of being the 2 teams that are closest right now to being in the top 6. And you do this by making moves and making trades. And Brian and I have been efforting aggressively to try to get into playoff contention. And we're also hoping that the teams ahead of us start to falter. We just aren't really getting that to be done. The margins of victory or loss for the teams in front of us are not deep enough. They're not wide enough for us. But we're trying, sir. We're trying. So kudos. Brian, you and I, we're all-stars, baby. Sean, Scott, you're an all-star too. Kind of in the same respect that Brian and I are, only you're still playing. We appreciate that. Okay? We are happy with the fact that you guys are engaging in trades. I can attest to this. I was blowing up Scott the other day trying to work out a trade, and he's at least communicating. If you guys haven't reached out to him, reach out to him. He's a reasonable guy. He might not be able to look at your stuff, but he's not about to trade away top tier talent for mediocre players. So be prepared in that respect. Don't try to undersell what he's got. He know what he got. He knows he's probably bowing out, but he's there. And Sean, again, they're setting their rosters. They're doing what they need to do. We appreciate that. Cheers to you guys. Y'all are all-stars. Make sure I'm an all-star. There we go. I still got time. Eric, you're my last all-star. Okay? Eric, I love you, man. I love it. You're an all-star because you have held on to that roster that you have of just misfits and cast away in our minds. You know, we've all talked shit about Cody Bellinger. Well, we were right, sir. Cody's back on the IL. We've talked shit about JD Martinez. Well, for the most part, we've been right. 76% of ownership for one JD Martinez. But my man over here, he's been holding on. He made a boneheaded move earlier this year when he traded Corbin Carroll for Bryce Harper. But guess what? You still keep plugging along, baby. You're like, I'm going to have 3 third basemen on my roster. Austin Riley, Alex Bregman, and then finally I'm going to give up and drop Nolan Arenado. Just dropped his punk ass. But you, Eric, you're an all-star, baby, because you haven't given up. You're not laying down, and you're doing your damnedest to, if not, totally blow everybody away. Say, fuck this 10th place. I'm jumping every single one of you motherfuckers because I'm going to separate myself with huge margins of victory with now pitchers like Chris Sale, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Ryan Pepio, Blake Snell. You're like, y'all are talking shit about my roster. I'm fixing to blow y'all away. Y'all top 6 people are going to be looking at me and being like, damn it, motherfucker. Leave me alone. Because right now you're taking one of them out. 7-5. That's Walker, and Walker's hoping to hold on to his spot. But you're like, no, bitch, I'm taking every single one of you out. So you, Eric, you're an all-star. The rest of you guys, Jesus, you're an all-star. Nick, you're an all-star. We're all all-stars. We're all all-stars. But I just wanted to highlight a couple of our players, if you will. Nick's not an all-star because he's the champion and reigning, and he's a piece of shit. Because he won't trade. He won't trade with me. He'll trade with me, but he wants too much. I'm not trading away Ketel Marte for O'Neal Cruz. I'm sorry. No. Do you? No. No. Sorry, Nick. You might be adorable in a Speedo. And thanks for the picture, by the way. But no. Just kidding. All right, boys, enjoy the All-Star game or whatever you're doing. Baseball, don't forget to look ahead. Your rosters need to be set for Friday. That's when the first matchups are, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then away we go. Oh, I forgot to say, I wanted to say one more thing. I'm running out of time. Hurry up, computer. You can do it. This is week 15. Week 15, ladies and gentlemen. That means we have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I ran out of fingers. 22. We go to week 22. Then it's playoff time. And I said 3 weeks, trade deadline. So, get them in. Get your trades in now. Don't wait. Because you know what you need in order to help get you into position. All right. Peace out. It's the motherfucker player.